Moreover, the substantial capital requirements associated with these mega projects may constrain public resources and crowd out investments in smaller, distributed, and adapted interventions that could collectively deliver greater resilience benefits. Nature-based and distributed approaches, including watershed restoration, floodplain rehabilitation, mangrove protection, and urban blue-green infrastructure, have been shown to reduce flood risks while generating important ecological and social co-benefits. In many contexts, these interventions are more cost-effective, quicker to implement, and more adaptable to changing environmental conditions than large, capital-intensive infrastructure. UPRI also underscores the importance of recognizing residual risk, defined as the level of disaster risk that remains even after risk reduction measures have been implemented. Flood hazards cannot be completely eliminated, particularly in the context of intensifying climate variability and extreme weather events. Effective resilience strategies therefore require a layered risk management approach that combines nature-based interventions, structural infrastructure, and preparedness measures. In this context, UPRI recommends that nature-based and distributed interventions be prioritized and maximized before resorting to large-scale structural infrastructure. Where residual risk persists after these measures have been implemented, engineered structures may then be considered as a final layer of protection. UPRI further offers its assistance to the committee and relevant government agencies in providing science-based modeling and analytical support. Through the UP NOAA Center, the Institute can conduct probabilistic risk modeling and geospatial simulations to evaluate the potential impact of proposed flood control interventions. The engineering designs and technical specifications of proposed projects can be integrated into these models to simulate their performance under different rainfall and hydrological scenarios, including those aggravated by climate change, like we have done for the Quezon City local government for the Quezon City Drainage Master Plan. Such analyses enable government agencies to assess the effectiveness and limitations of proposed interventions prior to implementation, thereby supporting evidence-based and risk-informed infrastructure investments. UPRI also informs the committee that it is currently developing a collaboration with the Department of Public Works and Highways to promote the use of the GINA Act. GINA, which stands short for Grow and Identify Native Trees in Your Area, is an application in support of nature-based flood prevention and watershed rehabilitation. GINA is a citizen science mobile application developed by UPRI that uses artificial intelligence to identify native trees, geotag planted trees, and monitor their growth. By enabling communities, local governments, and national agencies to document and track tree planting activities, the platform supports data-driven reforestation and ecosystem restoration initiatives that contribute to watershed protection and flood risk reduction. Finally, UPRI reiterates its readiness to assist the House of Representatives and the national government agencies in advancing nature-based solutions anchored on science-based and risk-informed infrastructure planning, recognizing such approaches as a critical first line of defense for sustainable flood risk management. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sales. Now we'd like to hear from the private sector. Before that, we would like to call on Attorney Leonardo Del Carmen Jr., the National President of the Philippine Institute of Environmental Planners. Sir, you have the floor.
Hello. To the committee chair and members, and to everyone, good afternoon. Marajaw na hapon sa ato hurot. The Philippine Institute of Environmental Planners submitted a position paper separately for our institute and jointly with the Professional Regulatory Board of Environmental Planners, the Professional Regulatory Board of Landscape Architecture, and the Philippine Association of Landscape Architects. But I will present a condensed form or short version of our position paper. The PIET supports House Resolution number 706 and 707 and endorses the mainstreaming of nature-based solutions in public infrastructure, drainage and flood control as part of SDG aligned resiliency policy. PIET's position is that flooding in the Philippines is a systems problem, driven not only by rainfall, but also by watershed degradation, land use change, and encroachment in waterways, floodplains, drainage constraints, and fragmented reactive projects that may unintentionally worsen conditions in neighboring or downstream areas. NBS is therefore framed not as a beautification, but as ecological infrastructure that can reduce flood risk through mechanisms such as infiltration, detention or retention, floodplain reconnection, and coastal buffering, while delivering co-benefits like biodiversity and water quality improvement. PIEP emphasizes a hybrid portfolio doctrine. NBS should be implemented complementary to necessary drain infrastructure and reinforced by risk-sensitive land use controls, especially for extreme events where NBS can be saturated or be exceeded. To prevent greenwashing, PIEP insists that any NBS project funded as flood control must be tied to explicit flood mechanisms and measurable objectives, supported by proportionate technical appraisal and designed to avoid risk transfer, meaning no project should reduce flooding in one place by increasing it elsewhere. In this view, the credibility of NBS integration depends on evidence-based planning, not simply labeling project as nature-based. After examining existing literature, studies, and empirical data, the PIEP submitted 9 recommendations. First, issue harmonized operational guidelines or criteria for NBS and hybrid flood control systems, both as a national module and LGU module. Second, institutionalize a mandatory early-stage alternative analysis, NBS versus gray versus hybrid, for flood control investments. Third, adopt a basin scale, no net transfer rule as a condition for approval and funding. Fourth, require modeling and scenario testing proportional to risk and scale. PIEP recommends a tiered standard. Tier 1 for small projects, standardized green infrastructure, compliance with standardized design criteria, and local drainage plan. 2. Second tier, district or corridor projects, there should be hydrologic modeling and network placement analysis. For the third tier, basin coastal portfolios and major flood control works, there should be integrated hydraulic modeling, scenario testing under extreme rainfall and uncertainty disclosure. Fifth recommendation, makes life cycle, operation and maintenance and performance accountability non-negotiable approval conditions. Sixth recommendation, integrate NBS into spatial planning and land use regulations, especially in our comprehensive land use plan and zoning ordinances. 7. Institutionalize participation and community stewardship models as part of technical design. 8. Adopt equity safeguards to prevent displacement, exclusion, and adjust distribution of protection. And the last one, establish an interagency and inter-LGU coordination mechanism for watershed to coast planning. Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you, Attorney Del Carmen. We'd like to request PIEP to submit the comments.
We have submitted.
Thank you. We'd now like to hear from the chairman of the PRB Environmental Planning, Mr. Michael Ang. Sir, you have the floor.
Good afternoon to our Honorable Chair and the committee members, as well as to all our resource persons who are present today. We are honored to be given the privilege to provide recommendations to the adoption of HR 706-707. Okay. As mentioned by our resource person a while ago, the president of PIEP, the Professional Regulatory Board of Environmental Planning, together with the Professional Regulatory Board of Landscape Architecture and the the two APOs, or the two accredited professional organizations of the two professions, the PIEP and the Philippine Association of Landscape Architects, jointly combine our position paper to make it a stronger position, and I think this is a very lengthy position paper. However, some of the items were already mentioned by our good gentleman from the PIEP. I would like to add that the role of the PRC in this recommendation, we would like to commit from our end. The PRC would like to do the following: assist in the technical capacity building in understanding what NBS is, and including how the process should be. No? So the professional regulatory boards, together, I think, with the commitment also of the Professional Regulatory Board of Architecture, that we will be assisting in the development of continuing professional education that are geared towards NBS and for environmental protection. And also on the topic of integrating NBS principles into our licensure examinations, and establish publication of joint practice guidelines and technical standards, and collaboration with NBS advocacy groups and other professional organizations towards promoting NBS as one of the key strategy in solving flood control. Training programs for government personnel and local communities on the principles and practices of ecological planning and design. Just a point of comment lang po with regards to the statement of our gentleman from the DPWH a while ago. In contrast to his statement that NBS should be a complementary tool towards flood control and management, our recommendation is to mandate a nature-based solution first, using the blue-green infrastructure tool towards all future flood control projects, and this must be prioritized. No? NBS and blue-green infrastructure must be the primary methodology, with gray infrastructure used only to supplement natural systems where absolutely necessary and justified. This should be operationalized through a mandatory early-stage alternatives analysis at the pre-feasibility and feasibility stages, documenting the flood mechanism targeted, expecting benefits, life cycle costs, and risk transfer implications. I would also like to state a few statements on our observation on the comparative benefits of using the NBS. Okay, we use 14 criteria to evaluate the difference between the gray infrastructure and the nature-based solution. First criteria is on planning framework and land use integration. Gray infrastructure is seen as isolated, while nature-based solution is seen as integrated. On spatial and territorial impact, gray infrastructure is linear, while NBS is expansive, regenerative, and space-enhancing. It creates high amenity public spaces that generates positive spillover effects on the surrounding neighborhoods. On watershed scale functionality, gray infrastructure addresses flooding only at the point of impact, ignoring upstream causes and downstream consequences. However, for NBS, it operates at the true scale of the problem, the watershed. It provides systemic benefits, including upland water retention, groundwater recharge, sediment capture, and nutrient cycling and base flow maintenance. For climate change adaptation and resilience, gray infrastructure is designed for historical conditions that no longer exist, while NBS inherently is adaptive and future-proofing our rivers. For ecosystem service valuation, gray infrastructure generates negative ecosystem services, destroys habitat, impairs water quality, and disrupts nutrient cycle. while NBS generates positive ecosystem services across multiple categories, provisioning like fisheries, water supply, which is good for public health as well. For biodiversity conservation and outcomes, gray infrastructure creates biological deserts, while NBS creates biodiversity hotspots. For social equity and environmental justice, gray infrastructure is disproportionately impacting on vulnerable communities, while NBS advances environmental justice by providing multiple benefits to the same vulnerable communities that have historically borne environmental burdens. For community engagement and participatory planning, gray infrastructure is top-down, technocratic, and exclusionary, while NBS enables genuine participatory planning and co-design with the participation of our private sector and our advocacy groups. On public health and well-being, gray infrastructure negatively impacts public health through heat island exacerbation, while NBS positively impacts public health through multiple pathways, urban cooling, and air purification. On the economic analysis and investment efficiency, gray infrastructure have a narrow cost-benefit analysis considering only the flood control benefits, while NBS has a comprehensive cost-benefit analysis capturing multi-sectoral benefits, flood damage avoidance, water quality improvements, health savings, tourism revenues, property value increases, fishery enhancement, and carbon sequestration. For life cycle costing and fiscal sustainability, gray infrastructure requires high life cycle maintenance, while NBS has a lower life cycle cost with potential for cost reduction over time. For risk profile and uncertainty management, gray infrastructure concentrates risk on monolithic structures. A single point of failure can lead to catastrophic consequences, while NBS distributes risk across multiple modular components. Failure of any single element does not compromise the whole system. For regulatory compliance and policy alignment, gray infrastructure increasingly is inconsistent with evolving legal frameworks. It conflicts with the Clean Water Act and on our conservation of the biodiversity. The NBS is aligned with and advances multiple legal mandates simultaneously for clean water as well as for Climate Change Act. For intergenerational equity, this is the most important. Gray infrastructure mortgage our future. It commits future generations to perpetual maintenance costs while foreclosing their options by creating irreversible path dependencies. While NBS invests in the future, creates self-sustaining assets that appreciate over time and preserve options for future generations. Mr. Chair, that is all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman Ang. No, I think we share also your passion and your what we call this, the direction that this committee is actually exploring. And again, thank you. If were they able to submit that? Okay. So in the interest of time, because we still have our 3 o'clock session, we'd like to request the subsequent resource person to limit your sharing to maybe a minute and a half, so that we can also give opportunity to the remaining resource persons who attended this afternoon's meeting. Now we would like to call on Mr. Guerrero, Architect Guerrero.
Yes, good afternoon, Chair, members of the Sustainable Development Committee, and esteemed resource speakers. Obviously, the Philippine Regulatory Board of Architecture supports fully the HR House Resolution 706 and 707 on nature-based solutions. And we prepared a position paper, which I will not read here. We submitted it to PRC, and I believe that Commissioner Enad is going to put together all the positions of the PRC. No? Just 3 points from the building point of view. No? Number one, I believe that NBS should also be in buildings, and in fact, that is the direction of green architecture. No? We talk about, in the whole ecosystem, we talk about ridge to reef, meaning water comes down. And in the built environment, we're talking about building to site, site to street, and that also causes a lot of floods. No? So if we push green architecture, maybe amend slightly the National Building Code, we're going to be supporting a lot the SDG 11. No? So I really got to push this, the point that in the buildings, we have to implement green architecture and nature-based solutions. No? For example, recharging our water table, instead of dumping all our water as quickly as possible to the lowest portion of the LGU, let it go down. Recharge our water tables, for example, bioswales. Even if there are existing structures, you can, for example, this idea for everybody. If you have existing manhole, break the floor of that manhole. Put gravel and sand, so that as the water goes through from manhole to manhole, part of the water is already seeping down into the ground. No? This way, we reduce the volume of water reaching the streets. Okay, so that's one idea. Second one is, the PRB for architecture is going to try to see if we can do capacity building for architects in terms of nature-based solutions. No? Because right now it's optional. So maybe we'll try to push that. And the third, the only existing code in the Philippines which talks about green architecture is the Philippine Green Building Code. But it does not have too much of the NBS involved. So that's another area which we can look into. No? And finally, after hearing everybody, I noticed that every agency is doing its own thing about NBS. I don't know if somehow we can integrate these all initiatives. Maybe this is the purpose of this bill, so that all the initiatives veering towards NBS can be put together and we bring the country to a proper direction, using nature as a basis for solving our problems. Nature gave us the problems. Let's use nature to solve our problems. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Architect Guerrero. Now we'd like to hear from our representative from the landscape.
Yes.
Ma'am Elizabeth
That Espino po.
Okay,
Espino.
Ma'am, you have the floor.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I have with me also the ex-official president of Philippine Association of Landscape Architects, Mr. Norman Brito. So together we agree with all the tenets included in the joint position paper that we co-signed. However, if Architect Guerrero went into the manholes, I'm going a little smaller pa. What we can do at home. So we can start with our garages, our gardens. We can have interlocking pavers and grass creeks instead of concrete. Because these are interlocking, then you don't have cement under. You have sand. So water percolates. Water is absorbed. We become a sponge. We don't have it running off in the street as much as we do now. And on a bigger scale, parking areas of malls should have interlocking pavers, not like what we have now na talagang puro cemento. And then also grass creeks, because grass grows on those holes, diba? Yung ganon. So, very micro po yun, pwede natin gawin sa bahay natin yon. On a bigger scale, we can have rain gardens in our communities, in our subdivisions, in our municipalities. Rain gardens are supposed to be located in the lowest portions of the areas, no? So, what we can do is, we can put phyto remediation plants in these areas para luminis din yung water na lumalabas into our streams, into our rivers. And we are providing something beautiful for the people to see. Anything green, lalo na pag namulaklak yan, will bring in the birds, will bring in a different kind of habitat, will bring in some kind of a consciousness that maybe nakalimutan na ng maraming tao. Yung ganon. And then, on another bigger scale is, we can identify the catchment areas in our subdivisions, municipalities, cities, and regions, yung ganon. And these catchment areas will please be developed into parks and open spaces. Not to be sold anymore for residential use, not to be sold anymore for malls, even if the malls say that they are going to put a cistern below. So what we are doing is a form of forming a sponge area. And if it is big enough, then we have sponge cities. Okay. And then on the legislative side, we can enforce definitely, strictly, no building zones. Slope areas, valleys. It's too late because we've constructed on this already, but we can stop selling mountains for residentials. Let's go back to the experience of Cebu, the flash flooding, and tumahimik na po. But it seems as if the development of that mountain into a beautiful residential area, prime properties, caused the flooding of Cebu. So it's really within us to start from the smallest level to the not so small and then palaki ng palaki po. And now we're talking nature-based solutions. Yung kanina po, yung sa rubble masonry rubble, I'm sorry. It is, wala na si Congressman, ano? It is a design process. It is an accepted NBS process as long as it's done well. Yes. Kasi meron ho tayong tinatawag na mga gabions. So it doesn't have to be loosely compacted like, baka ang ginawa nila yung parang riprap. Riprap is different, no? Riprap is what you see in Baguio. Expertise yan ng mga brothers natin in the Cordillera areas. Hindi ho yun ang pang flood control. Marami yung solutions na yung rubble na yun makakatulong. Yung ganon. So, in other words, ayun na ho. I've said my, I hope I went from the lowest to the highest. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your sharing. Now, in the interest of time, any motion?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve House Resolution number 706, subject to style and amendments, and I move to approve the corresponding committee report for it.
There is a motion, duly seconded. Any objection? Okay.
Members who are present here made as co-authors.
Okay, so second, so all present members are hereby made co-authors of the said House resolution. Now for the pending motion, are there any objection to the motion of Representative Ana? Hearing none, same is approved.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead, Congresswoman.
Mr. Chair, I also move to approve House Resolution number 707 subject to style and amendments, and I likewise move to approve the corresponding.
So there's a motion to approve House Resolution number 707, subject to amendments and style, and its corresponding committee report. Duly seconded. Is there any objection? Hearing none, same is approved. Congratulations to the authors of the said House resolutions. Now we will proceed to the next item. House Resolution number 615, entitled a resolution marking the 80th United Nations founding anniversary as an SDG and Peace, Climate, Techno-Resilient Action Year with continued support for national-scale initiation of a global cultural Olympic within annual United Nations COP beginning in Turkey, introduced by resource persons that we invited for the first two House resolutions. You are now excused from attending the committee. Thank you very much for your participation. Meeting suspended. Okay, let's settle down. Meeting resumed. So now we would like to recognize the author of the said House resolution, the Honorable Maximo Rodriguez.
Thank you, Chair. Esteemed colleagues, this resolution,
Silence, please.
This House Resolution number 615 recognizes or marks the founding anniversary in the United Nations on the UN Declaration of Human Rights. And this year, will be the 18th year. And so this resolution recognizes that because the Philippines had been participating in the United Nations conventions regarding human rights and also in what we call the Sustainable Development Goals. And as shown here in the explanatory note, among many declarations in the other countries like the Hangzhou, Incheon, UN PAC, and the other UN Convention on the Sea, and others, and that is why we are having this resolution, because we want the people who will participate in this activity to be helped by the President of the Philippines. Actually, it's a resolution to the President to assist them, these people, this group, in order to celebrate the 18th year. And noteworthy of this, my esteemed colleagues, my friends, is that we have here the presence of one of the, what we call the national artists in the world, because it's recognized Madame Cecile Quedote Alvarez, who had been declared or honored as a global artist in the National Center initiated by the Sustainable Development Goals, Peace and Climate Justice Movement, and that was in 2013. So we have the honor of the presence of our esteemed compatriot, who is here, Cecile Alvarez, the better half of can just clap our hands. We're honored to be with you here, and of course, he is the better half of the senator, the late senator, the activist senator, I know, because and former senator and Congressman Isabela, 46 in Isabela. And he was a pioneering voice in raising awareness to defuse the ecological time bomb of global warming, in forging the Manila Declaration for the Protection of the Small Islands and Geographic Countries from Climate Change that was presented at the first UN Climate Change Conference. First, in 1995 at Berlin to recognize the help of the senator, late senator. Both of them raised awareness to this country, the Sustainable Development Goals, as a result of the climate change. No, that is the thing there. And so we don't like to lose that stature of the two patriots, I tell me, no? To people who have been patriots in the field of cultural change. What you call this, climate change. And so, in essence, this is just a resolution, if you can read it, urging the President, Marcos, to recognize this and, in effect, support any initiative to celebrate the 80th founding anniversary of the UN Declaration of Human Rights. Because human rights includes what we call climate change. It includes sustainable development goals that we have now. And so this is just a solution, Chairman, because we hope that with solution in Congress, our equal government in the executive will recognize, and then should be a assistance for, of course, financial assistance in order for this UN delegation to initiate this resolution in the UN, and then some others will sponsor also the other good groups, no, that will be joining this endeavor. So I move, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Maximo Rodriguez Jr. But before we proceed, would like to recognize our very active chairperson of the Committee on Senior Citizen, the Honorable Milagros Aquino Magsaysay. Thank you very much, Kong, for attending our meeting. Now, again, thank you, Congressman Max. We now proceed with our resource persons present here today. We'd like to recognize Ma'am Cecil Guidotti Alvarez for her manifestation and message. Okay.
First of all, please, we'd like to thank, maraming salamat po sa ating chairman, si Manny Alba, at ang mga kasama po dito para sa committee. Of course, our sponsor of the resolution, kasama po si Congressman Rufus at si Congressman Max. At nakatutuwa rin nga po na kasama nga rin natin si Congressman Mila Magsaysay, sapagkat kasama ho si Congresswoman Tolentino and of course si Congressman Alba at saka sila. Sila po talaga ang tumulong para mabigyan ng mukha at masigasig na pagsulong na kailangan po talaga na bigyan ng pansin ang lahat. Ang dami na pong mga, as mentioned by our chairman, ang dami na pong mga resolutions, conventions, but how does it reach, the people who really need it? Hindi ho umaabot eh. Kadalasan naiiwan sa mga cabinets ng bureaucracies, etc. It's not really reaching people in the grassroots. And that's why we deeply appreciate the vision of this committee to say that less than 5 years, paano ho mapapatupad ang SDGs, 17 goals? Kulang ang pagpapaabot ng kaalaman sa mga tao na kailangan, lalo na yung mga nasa mahirap na kalagayan, para alam nila kung paano mapapabuti ang kanilang katayuan. So, it's really very, we're truly appreciative dahil ang dahil tuwan-tuwa tayo kung may gold medal ang ating mga sports heroes. But this leadership of the country the artistic, educational, technological synergy that we are demonstrating at the UN is going to be the weight of many gold medals for all of our partners because it gives the inspirational vision. Nandun ho tayo, umangal nga ho sila, Congressman Tolentino, lahat ho kayo na nasa Belém. Wala tayong country pavilion, but there are so many country pavilions. If each country pavilion carries within it a cultural input, kung paano ho mauunawaan ang mga kailangan para protection ng people, ng planet, poverty eradication, at saka yung sustainability. Paano maiintindihan yon kung puro speeches? Pag nakita po ninyo kung sana pwede nating ipakita, na in 2 minutes or in 4 minutes, aabutin ang puso at ang kamalayan ng tao para maunawaan ano ba ang ibig sabihin. Sustainable tourism itself will really grow if we build our indigenous heritage. Ang napakaganda nga po, si Congressman Alba, dun ho sa Asian Pavilion nga natin inilatag ang possibility of an ASEAN SDGs regional perspective. Paano ho ba mauunawaan and we can bond together the socio-cultural pillar of ASEAN? We hold the chairship. How can we have a global cultural panorama para magkakadikit ho, katulad ngayon kung makikita ninyo in Belém, in the Human Rights Day, senior citizens chair together with the indigenous minister of Brazil were together. So now, ipagsasama ho dito sa initial dancing, which we're so grateful you're going to be helping kasi wala ho talagang funding. But, you know, we can't have the SDGs unless we educate people, lifelong learning, mix all of the art disciplines together with technology, broadcast, cinema, aabot po yan sa tao. So I wonder if you can show this. It's only 1 minute, but it's going to be historic. The pygmies of the Democratic Republic of Congo will be joining together with the Aitas of Pampanga and Nueva Ecija. So kaagad po yung karapatan ng mga katutubo, yung mga the first inhabitants will connect also Afro-Asian. Ay, walang sound. They live in the forest. So all of their expression is about their forest lives. But they express it, their joy, their sorrow, their problems. Pag nagtugma ho sila dito sa Manila in April, bigla hong mas maliwanag ang pagsulong ng karapatan. Ito naman ho ang AITA natin. So can you imagine, they'll join together, they will reinforce the call for their rights to their land, to their needs. Ito ho naman tayo sa mga AITAs, they're into the farming, into the necessary, what you might call it. Yun din ho, kung maaaring makita ninyo, just by 2 minutes, you can already say ceasefire. Ngayon ho, na tuliro ang mundo, we're discombobulated with the wars. How do we now, Jean, can you go into the ceasefire and environmental protection or climate? Pareho ho sila eh. They're the first inhabitants and it will connect Africa and Asia in a common concern. Jean, can you, asan si Jean? Can you put the ceasefire? Kasi ho, nakita natin ang dalamhati ng mga pagkasira ng buhay, kabuhayan, bahay, infrastructure, nakakaawa po talaga ang mga byuda, ang mga bata, orphans, at saka musmus pa lang patay na, wala nang maaring buhay. Bakit wala pong audio? Ayan, may audio. Lakasan mo. Put it in the mic. Actually, it's a song, The Child of War. Ang mga kumakanta po ay mga bulag, at saka pipi, at saka pilay. It shows that arts education can empower, can heal trauma, and can also provide livelihood for them. So, ito ho yung kanta nun eh. We're too young to learn to hate, but we are learning from the wars our fathers made. Women's Month ho ngayon, ang gera, hindi ho mga kababaro ang gumagawa ng gera. So, and then it says, let's pray, and it's interfaith, mga bulag po yan, tsaka pipi. But they're able, they are now all teachers. Allah. Ayon sa mic. Ay? Jean, ending na yan eh. Ayan, ito ho.
When will concert begin?
Tapos na po yun. Thank you so much. It's just to show that even in a short time, mas madali hong makonscientize ang tao, malaman talaga. Nandun na ho lahat yung clean energy, mas madali hong maisip. So kung talagang hong pagbibigyan nito, UNESCO has approved it. We have all of the letters. And it will really allow the Philippines to fly. You have the chairmanship of ASEAN. And also, it is the year of volunteers for the Sustainable Development Goals this year declared. So talaga pong ang Pilipinas sa palagay ko ay can highlight this if it is supported. And alam ko wala na ho kayong panahon kaya bigay ko lang ho itong
Thank you, Ma'am Cecil Alvarez. We'd like to hear the comment from the Department of Economy, Planning and Development. Ms. Janice Butanes.
Hi. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the Committee on the SDG. By the way, Ms. Alvarez already met with DepDev on February 25, and during that time, it was discussed that they are seeking for financial support. And then, what our commitment then was to discuss this to our principals, because based on our knowledge as the SDG Secretariat, we do not have a fund that can easily be tapped for activities, especially if it's an activity is initiated by the private sector. We have the SDG fund under RA 11467 that is from the excise taxes, but we are administering the DBM is administering that. And that the role of DepDev is to shortlist the programs and projects that will be submitted to DBM for funding. So we can only commit as the Secretariat of the SDG to disseminate the activity to our members, which is composed of different agencies. But as to funding, I don't know if we can easily tap that. Maybe the DBM can answer that, sir. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Olpo. May we know from during the discussion with DepDev, what was the proposed budget?
You mean, sir?
During your meeting with the group of Earth Savers movement?
Actually, Congressman, we haven't heard from our principals yet, but we've already prepared our communications addressed to Director Alvarez.
Okay.
But as to, like, I would like to reiterate, as to funding, DepDev has no funds, to provide to this event, sir.
Maybe we can just ask a formal communication from DepDev addressed to this committee in connection with this House resolution.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We have already prepared our position for this House resolution.
Okay.
May I just add, Mr. Chairman, that in the interagency meeting that was forged through several committees of the House, it was discussed that NAPSI will become the holding lead agency, and they were very happy that DFA had already endorsed the project to the social cultural chair of DSWD, and then they have also suggested that they are a member of the DepDev, and they were the ones who told us to contact them because all they needed was an endorsement from DepDev, and then they can tap the different agencies. Like tourism had agreed already to support the people welcoming them and probably even a dinner. And then DILG said that they could issue a memo for the local groups of the Philippines that will participate. And NAPSI said that they will take care of 50 vulnerable groups working on it. So all we need really is an equal welcoming statement the way DFA ASEAN did it, so that NAPSI can hold the rising to the different agencies. That's what they said.
So in that case, we'll have to inform NAPSI and request for their position on this House resolution. NAPSI, DOT, DFA, DILG.
Hello, sorry.
It looks like
Mr. Chair. I think also the NCCA would be a
NCCA
would be a
Yes.
NCCA.
and they all, from what I know, they also get something from the travel tax.
Yes.
So
siguro the appropriate
would be appropriate.
thing to do is to ask for their position on this particular resolution before we decide on this matter.
And Mr. Chair, for every request to see, if you are going to request for funding, you should know the exact amount that you are requesting. Kasi mahirap magbigay if you don't have any project proposal.
They all have the resolutions, including the budget proposal. In the last meeting, it was reduced already because of the giving or the provision or the willingness of certain departments to assist. What was the original 15 million was already reduced to 10, and then there has been budget, there have been kind of meetings, and then we were told that Senator Loren has also, as chairman of Arts, has endorsed it. So hopefully, if we do have the way you had it approved, the ones prior to us, we can send it immediately to UNESCO before the event in April.
Because this House resolution has a financial component, we'll have to ask the relevant agencies for their position. So, what's the pleasure of the committee? Now, before we proceed, siguro, maybe we can ask the Secretariat to inform all the agencies mentioned by Tita Cecil Alvarez in connection with this House resolution, including the funding component. We need to get their opinion before we decide on this matter.
Chairman, Mr. Chair, in as much as our vacation will be on Wednesday already, maybe can we fast track it because the occasion, the event will be in
April 26.
And
So maybe we can schedule another meeting next week. We just want everything to be in order.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Where is this event supposed to be held?
April 26 po to 30, pero the International Day is April 29, but the ASEAN is 26, 27, 28 to showcase it, and 29 is the global thing. And then on the 30th, we were hoping to present out of UNESCO the Magna Carta for the rights of artists, and then the support for sustainable tourism, everything on the value of SDGs, lifelong learning, using techno-resilient manifestations in the UN Conference on Climate annually.
Okay.
Thank you.
So in the meantime, we'll ask the committee to inform the relevant agencies for their comment on this particular House resolution.
Thank you.
So maybe we can set another meeting next week, Comsec. We'll find a room. So what's the pleasure of... We defer muna the... Okay. So we defer the approval of this measure until we get all the comments of the relevant agents mentioned by Tita Cecil Alvarez. So is that okay for everyone?
Yes, thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, sorry ma'am, I just wanted to ask, where will it be held? Is it going to be here in Manila or in
Yeah,
Bacolod? 'Cause we-
it's in Manila at the Metropolitan Theater, but we were asking the ILG and they were willing that we would select dance representatives and indigenous elders from different regions of the Philippines to join the ASEAN delegates and the other continental representation, because it's too expensive to have spread it. That was the original plan, so it was reduced by getting the delegates from the different countries, regions.
And then, ma'am, just another last question. Is there an indicative amount that we're requesting funding for?
Yeah, for the international delegations, the 10 countries of ASEAN with 4 performing delegates, and then also 10 from the continents Asia, Pacific, Arab, Africa, Caribbean, Latin American, and Europe, North America. Also 10 countries, so that there is a strong interaction and a global perspective besides the ASEAN regional phase that we wanted to project. And then there will of course be, it is under the International Theatre Institute. It's a membership of 100 countries under UNESCO. So we cut it down and said who the first 30 head delegates is all we're going to support. So everything was cut down from 15,500 to 10 million, but that includes pure documentation, and just the pygmies really cannot come unless they are assisted with the international travel. But all the countries are supposed to pay for their own travel. Hotel lang po tayo, and food and internal transport.
Okay. So thank you for your time. We will continue the discussion on this matter next meeting. So
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you po.
Any motion?
Mr. Chair, move to adjourn.
Second.
Are there objections? Hearing none, this meeting is hereby adjourned. Thank you.
nagtatanong siya, don't get Twitter. Ayaw niya mautusan.